Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Monday night here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go to our friends over in Adelaide, and funny enough, that's where I was on the weekend, especially on Saturday, and of course to catch up with course, one of our favourite teams. You can probably see in the background, of course, in the black and white, because that is Fulham United, and of course I got to see them before their knockout cup clash, of course, against White City. They're in, of course, Woodville, and of course they defeated White City by 9-0, which I didn't watch any part of that match. But either way, they won by 9 goals because we got our ambassador for the Fulham United team as well as our player sponsor. Of course, her name's Mia. She joins us right now. Thanks, Mia, for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
No worries. Well, as I mentioned in the intro, I did come out to, well, at least got there eventually to White City to see us play against them, and obviously didn't even stay to watch your game at all. But you won 9-0. Tell us a bit about it.
I think with our Cup League in SA, it's a mixture of the State League and the first team, or NPL. So we went in pretty confident on not just the notion of the league that we're playing in, but also because we had a really strong start to the season. So we were quite confident going into our cup round in terms of how we were playing. The field wasn't overly even. It looked like you were kind of playing full drive soccer. Yes. So the ball definitely didn't roll straight. But we had plenty of chances and we took a lot of them. So it took a bit of momentum to get there, but we slotted a few away and had 2 hat tricks within that. So it was a nice day from a goal scoring point of view, and it was good to get one on the sheet for myself as well. But yeah, it was a hard game given that we all ended up playing 90 to allow our bench players to play in the resis, which is tonight actually. They should be finishing up right now actually.
Now, you did mention you got a goal in that game. You might as well describe it for us.
Well, it was actually a follow-up from my butchered attempt of the shot before. So, I mean, I was very elated with the fact that I could finish it up. But no, I was playing on the left side, which I'm not too familiar with. I took a cut in between the fullback and the centre back and pelted at the goals, and it went straight to the keeper, but she couldn't pick it up. So I just came in and followed it through. I'm lucky that I was running and just kept going with momentum because I was scared of stopping so abruptly on the field that I just kept going with the ball. But yeah, it was a follow through. So my second effort still counts, but we got there. So I was happy with it.
So you technically butchered it, but you end up scoring.
I fixed it. Yeah.
Now you did mention that 2 of your other teammates actually scored a hat-trick in that game. You might as well tell us who those 2 players were, and obviously your other captain scored the other 2. Tell us the 2 players who scored the hat-trick, and which one of their hat-tricks was the better one?
So Ange, who was playing up as number 9, she scored 3, and Shiv, who plays as one of our midfielders, also scored a hat-trick as well. I'm going to have to go with, it's impressive that one of our midfielders scored 3.
Mm-hmm.
So props to Shivy for that one. But I'm going to have to go with Ange. Up front, she is tenacious and relentless in her efforts to get goals. And the fact that she could slot 3 away and continuously provide options for us players up front, I'm gonna have to go with Ange on that one. Yeah, she had a really, really good game.
Now, of course, this comes off a pretty impressive game against the defending champs the week before against Metro United, who you only drew 1-1 in that game, and obviously started the season pretty well as well on top of that. I guess, is the team reasonably happy where they are at the moment at this stage of the year? I know even though it's very early on.
I would like to think yes. I'm still new to Fulham, so this is actually my first season with them. And playing against them and now playing with them, it's a very big shift of perspective for me. I think this year we've really focused on being a unit, being really cohesive and understanding of one another. And I think that's really, really showcased in how we play. I think we won 5 from 4 in the preseason cup. And that itself was a really good start for us to show what we as a team can showcase, but how we can build from that. It was, I think, last week, when we played Metro, was a really good example of Fulham this year versus Fulham in the previous seasons, in terms of, I think that we bounce back a lot better and we hold ourselves more accountable. That's something that we actively do after trainings and games as well. And that's now starting to show on how we play. So when we're 1-0 down, we can still come back. So I think for us, it's early on and it's only a few rounds in, but we have a lot more resilience behind the actions that we do now. So we're harder to stand up against, I think.
I have to ask, how's the preparations like heading to this week's game, which I believe might be a Friday night game, I'm pretty sure.
No, we got Saturday against City.
Another Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, so Saturday against City. The Saturday games are hard to prepare for. We're used to Friday nights. We're not used to the change of fixtures. And with our Rezzies playing tonight in their cup, it'll change player availability. So we haven't been able to go into a regular week of training. So I've just gotten back from training, but we're pretty confident and comfortable having some good conversations off the back of Saturday's games and some things that we can draw from. And Metro will obviously have our session on the Wednesday, and we'll always have our team dinner afterwards, which is the best. I think with how consistent we have been as a team in terms of what we're looking to achieve, even the change of fixtures or the team that we're playing hasn't really thrown us off course. So I'm pretty comfortable and I'm looking forward to Saturday, actually.
Now, funny enough, and for everyone in Melbourne who have no idea, there is 3 clubs that wear black and white in your competition.
Yep.
One of them is obviously yourselves. The other one, the team that you're versing, and the other one is actually the team you came across from. How difficult is it to have 3 clubs over there, and when you have to verse against them, that all 3 of them wear black and white?
It's frustrating only because it's the away colours and the clash colours that become the frustrating part of it. So we obviously have yellow as our away colour. And as much as I love our colours in our kit, yellow with a complexion like mine just doesn't really work. I look like one singular shade in many ways on the pitch, but it's all right. It works. But yeah, I think I love playing in our home kit. I love playing the black and white. I think our kit's nice and bold and it stands out. So it's frustrating when we don't get to necessarily wear the black and white so often because of all the teams that do play in their respective black and white kits. But obviously it's a trend and I really like playing in black and white kits. So I've moved from one club to another club that allows me to do that. But yeah.
Yuri, why did you change from Adelaide Uni to Fulham?
For a couple of seasons. And I transitioned from Cumberland United as a junior. And throughout my university studies, I didn't go to Adelaide Uni. I then started playing at Adelaide Uni because I was in the city and a couple of other factors within that. And as I started to get more invested in my career or uni side of things, it became quite challenging. The distance that I had to travel and a couple of other things. And I found myself slipping into really bad habits that I didn't think that I was contributing as much as I felt I should have to a team environment. So last season, before COVID, I took some time off anyway. So I took some time away from football and focused a little bit more on work and a couple of things. And when COVID hit, obviously we couldn't do anything. So for me, it was my only break from football that wasn't injury related. And it was like in those few months that I realized how many habits as a player I had developed just from habit and being in the same place and doing the same thing on repeat. That was no fault or anything of the club or players. It was just my own things that I had started to develop over time. And because that was the normal, it wasn't necessarily, it didn't really fit in with the culture at the time. And so I quickly realized that my behaviors needed to change or my environment needed to change. And at the end of the season, when I sat down with my coach, we both had the same opinion in that we think that a new environment would be good for me. And I'd already been looking at Fulham United at the time for many reasons. And the shift for me from an environment standpoint, it's been everything that I could ask for. The girls in the club are awesome. And it's also given me a new chance to kind of test my football a little bit and be a bit more competitive in a team that I don't know and people that I don't know. So I think after the COVID break last year, I needed a huge change, and I got that. And I'm very grateful and happy that I made that choice.
Now, I know you do eventually have to play against your former team, Adelaide Uni, eventually throughout the year. How difficult will that be?
The thing that I'm worried about the most is yelling out a supportive comment to Uni by accident whilst playing for Fulham, because I have done that in the past when I've played for Uni and I yelled out "Go Cumberland," and that's the thing that I'm probably most fearful of the most. I miss playing with the girls a lot. It was an awesome club to be a part of and a team to be a part of. And I think their team has also shifted a lot as well. So there's players that I don't know. They've gone to other clubs or they're not playing anymore. So for me, I'm not as fearful going in as what I probably thought I once was, because their team is a whole new dynamic. So if anything, I'm actually really excited to play against my old teammates. Haven't been on the same field as them in quite a while. So it's not training with them, but playing against them is close enough.
Now, I know your Fulham United team is pretty young still.
Yep.
I guess how special is that to see, the team going so well, and obviously they've still got a lot of, growth left in them to hopefully power through as back to be one of the dominant teams in the comp.
I think even irrespective of this year, on the outside watching Fulham develop as a team, especially being so young, even a few seasons ago, it's been enjoyable to watch how much they've grown and to now be a part of that and to see all the players develop and the club and the culture and the standards. I think this year will be a standout season for us and all the players that are coming through, even for reserves. So I think the experience that we've brought in from several players and the experience that we've maintained, as well as those younger players, I'm excited to see where this season is for us and the younger ones, and also in the seasons to come.
Let's talk a bit about your football journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it?
I started, what am I now, 23. So I started when I was about 3 or 4. And I simply started because I idolized my older brother, and anything he did, I just followed. I would follow him around, copy everything he did. And he didn't necessarily like it, but I did it anyway. And he did soccer, so I played soccer. He did this, so I did that. And so we played at the same club. We'd kick around the oval at recess and lunchtime before he went to high school. And that's where I just I loved the game. I went to a very small primary school. So at one stage there was only 60 kids in it. And large in part, we would spend lunchtime playing soccer and it'd just be a really big game. Not everyone would participate, but there's probably about 20 to 30 at any one time kind of being out. And so that for me, I just loved it. It was what I did every day. And I didn't really stop from there. It also was my defining factor. So I'm actually an identical twin, and she doesn't play soccer. So that's a plus. Yeah, but it's a shame, but it's a plus. And so for me, that was like very much the things that I had to myself. And so soccer was like my pathway and my thing that was so individual. It was something that I couldn't share. And so I just kept playing and kept playing. And I played in my local district for years, and there was never a girls' team ever. There was a boys' team my entire career until under 13s, under 12s. The team decided to have a first girls' team, and I had to almost pay my sister to be in the team because we needed just one more player to make an 11. We didn't have any subs. We just needed one more player to make an 11. We weren't successful that season. It wasn't the most productive year for my development, but it was a very big learning opportunity for me at that young that I probably wanted to look elsewhere for soccer. And that's when Cumberland United came into play. someone actually saw me play and asked me to come out and trial, and I did, and I was there for the better part of 8 years. And I got to coach. I got to be a really big part of the club, and I got to be involved in a lot of opportunities like your stick or your state programs. And my first exposure to anything elite or professional was when I was in the under 14s, I think, state program with the likes of Emily Condon, Alex Chidiac, who else? A lot of players that are still currently playing in the WNPL and are quite successful, and also players that have gone beyond that. And in that season, I actually fractured my spine. I fractured a few vertebrae. I actually did it falling off a horse. So it wasn't overly an exciting ordeal. But I did that recovery, and then I came back and started playing for the NPL team at Cumberland. And during my time playing there and playing against older women, I realized that I could actually compete a little bit. I obviously didn't get to go away because of the injury to the state program. And I kind of felt like at that time that was it. I wasn't going to go anywhere because I didn't make the state team. And I never made a metropolitan or the traditional state team after that. But when I was, I think, 16, I made the South Australian regional state team. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but they travel over to Fiji and play. And that was something else. That was like a holiday and a state trip and this all rolled in one. But that was like probably the most exciting thing that I ever did. And I distinctly remember sitting at a W League game. At that time, it was still the Lady Reds. Before Adelaide United owned them, it was still the Federation. And we're sitting on and we're watching Christy Moore play. And it was a game against Perth Glory. And I turned to one of the players and I was like, I really want to play like there. I've decided I want to play for the Lady Reds. I still haven't got there, but the following year, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be in the extended squad as a train-on. And that's when things really started to shift for me from a mental perspective of football. Like that's when things get hard and you actually have to really work for it. But it was an awesome opportunity. And from that, I got to learn a lot more within the WNPL and some injuries along the way. I got opportunities later down the track to join in that squad again when Adelaide United owned the Lady Reds or Adelaide United women. And since then, due to injury coming in and out and a couple of work things, I'm now in probably the best position I have been for football in my more senior years. But highlights in my career are definitely being a part of those extended training squads and actually experiencing what it takes in many facets to be at that level and what I have to do if I want to get there. So it's been good. It's been very good for my career as well to see how athletes feel.
And what does the sport of the world game mean to you, especially playing there at Fulham United?
When you sent these questions through, I found this one hard to put into words because for me, this has been who I am for as long as that I can tangibly remember. And it's very much shaped everything that I have done from a career to a lot of day-to-day interactions with people. I think team sport and especially soccer combines many ways in which help people just develop as people. So for me, it means a lot more than just a game and participating in it. And I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity to play with and around so many good people and coaches. And I think the position that I'm in right now with Fulham is the best environment and culture that I've been in so far as a footballer. It's very much a family environment and very much houses what football feels like for me as a person. So there's a purpose and there's a passion behind it, but at the end of the day, we're there to enjoy it and the people that we're with. So I'm very grateful that I'm playing the sport, but I'm very lucky that I'm at Fulham.
What would be your advice to people out there that should get involved in the World Games, especially there in Adelaide?
Play for passion and not for the purpose of anybody else or any other end game. I think my biggest fault as a player was wanting the far end of the spectrum and wanting to be in the Matildas and the W League without doing the things in between, and even in the process of doing them, losing the sight of I'm playing because I love it. something you love or something that's a passion should never become a chore. So always play for the passion of it. Even if that passion goes, always pursue things because you're passionate.
Now let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates. Now, I wish I got to have a chance to meet them all on the weekend. So let's see how these questions are going to go based off how I've met pretty much all your teammates on the weekend. Who had the most embarrassing moment on the field this season, and what was it?
The most embarrassing moment on the field. I wouldn't say embarrassing, but I just have to highlight this. Kaylin LaRue, love her to bits. There'll be just these pivotal moments in a game in which she will decide to pull out the best trick in the book. But there'll be moments that don't warrant the best trick in the book. And sometimes they are fantastic and beautiful and she pulls them off, and I hope she sees this. Good on you, Rue. And sometimes they just don't happen, which is fine. She tries it. She's creative. But there hasn't been many times in which we've had too many slip-ups. There haven't been too many games in which anything's like really, really happened. So I was thinking so hard about this, and the only thing that I think I needed to mention was that. Because sometimes it's just like,
Now, who's the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer in the team?
There was one name that came through for all of these three things, and it actually pains me to say it because she will love the fact that I am saying it. She will enjoy every second of me saying it. I played with this player when I was at Cumberland many years ago, played with this player at uni, and now I'm stuck with her here. Amelia Ebbs.
Yes.
Absolutely love that I am saying this. She is in many ways a comedian because of her singing and dancing. But she definitely is the class clown of sorts. It'd be a very different environment if she wasn't there.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was coming. Yeah. I exactly knew that was coming. Now, I have to ask this one. Do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Me personally, no, because I used to. When I first got my car, when I first got my car, my brand new car when I was 17, I was playing in the WNPL. I had 4 really, really good games in a row. And what I did before those games was wash my car. I had a certain meal. Well, I had 2 sushi rolls and a Boost juice, and I washed my car. And I played really, really well. And I think I scored in 3 out of those 4 of those games. And so I continuously did that for all season. I don't know if you know how many times you can wash a car before it starts to damage a car.
Yeah.
But it was a lot. I did that a lot. And it started to turn out to even the games that I wasn't playing well, I would blame the car not being washed enough. Or it just became sad. So with my work, it's really chop and change. So for me, my own ritual is like, all I need to do is sleep and eat and I am good. I'm a huge overthinker as a player. So if I can be relaxed, we're good. If I start to wash the car, we're not good. We're not good.
I think we both share the same things when we overthink things.
Too much.
Yes, I agree. I know I share the exact same sentiment with that one. Now, of course, as I mentioned in pretty much most of this interview, I did get the chance to come out to your game. Well, not really your game, but at least get to meet the team before your game on the weekend. Now, number one, were you surprised that we came out to meet the team, and how good was it to see us at least finally get to meet you?
Yeah, I loved it. I didn't realize that you would come all the way down to Adelaide or come to our game or make the effort to come to our game and wait around for the opportunity to actually speak to me and speak to members of the team as well. So, I thought that was great, and I didn't really expect any of that. And even having the conversation we had before this interview, you actually making the time just to get in to see all the teams that you support and the females that you support. I think it's amazing. I think it's great, personally.
Now, I rarely ask this question because I don't do this often. But how was the team's reaction when I was there?
They loved it. We got to. It's not very often that we get to sign a shirt. It's a small little thing sometimes, but there's a few times, absolutely, it's in the corner. I love that. There's a few times in which you get to actually sign a team shirt with your signature and give it to someone who values it and wants to showcase it. So we as a team, we loved it. We're very big on culture and supporting one another and those in which support us and the club. So yeah, some people weren't overly impressed with their signatures. They were disappointed that they weren't perfect, but we fixed it up.
Right. Okay. All right. I might
Don't
figure
look too
out.
closely. Don't look too closely. Permanent marker on shirt is hard.
Okay, you can tell me who those players are after this interview.
I will when it's not recorded.
Yeah, exactly. Now, of course, we are your player sponsor for the 2021 season. What did that mean to you? And when you found out, were you surprised?
I was a little bit, yeah. I haven't ever had, typically we've had to really seek out player sponsors or find that money ourselves. So having the club get in touch with me and let me know that I had a player sponsor that not only wanted to sponsor me, but actually get to know me or have a conversation with me and promote, that was, it's very humbling and very different. I haven't had that before as a player. So personally, I'm really grateful for the fact that you're willing to and wanting to sponsor myself and be a part of Fulham United.
We'll finish up with this last two, which is what does it mean to you to be a Smash FM ambassador?
I'm glad that I just get to be an extension of the voice that you have at Smash FM and how much you want to support women's football. I'm grateful for the opportunity and I look forward to supporting any way that I can, as much as you can support me.
And we'll finish up with this one last one, which is describe your team at Fulham, as many words as you like. And I've got a feeling there's going to be at least 2 words that's going to be mostly commonly used throughout your team.
If I had like Fulham in and of itself, like they're a family, but they have they're a family full of just like comedians. They're a bunch of
yes, I was waiting for that.
Good banter. They get along really well. But the best part about it is like there's no cliques. Everyone is equal and everyone's accountable. And it's a culture that I think most teams should envy. And it's a family environment that you just want to be a part of in any way, shape, or form. And that's not just being a part of the team that you're in, it's the club as well. So yeah, that's my takes on the club.
Well, Mia, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us, and please send our best wishes to your teammates for us. Obviously, we did them proud by being there, and obviously got your team over the line by 9 goals at the end in the knockout cup game. Best of luck against, of course, the other team that played in last year's grand final, that is Adelaide City, and let's hope you can do something either similar to what you played against Metro, or even do one better, and obviously beat Adelaide City on the weekend.
Thank you very much. I will pass on that message to the team, and thank you very much for having me as well.
No worries, and that's Mia that joined us there from the Fulham United women's football team, of course, playing the NPLW. Of course, as she mentioned, it is on not Friday night like they usually do, because they will be playing, because on the weekend, they will put all the details up on how you can go about getting down there if you're in the Adelaide area to support my Fulham United in the black and white in 2021. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Monday edition.